Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for webinar number 5 in the SNBI series. This is Victoria Beal with the Ohio LTAP Center. Today, Amjad is going to be your presenter, and he's going to be talking about load rating fields. Couple quick housekeeping items, and then we'll get started. First off, we are attempting to record the presentation. Hopefully technology cooperates, and if it does, we'll be able to send you a link to the recording after the webinar completes. Hopefully we'll get that out to you no later than tomorrow. We'll also include a link to the slides that Amjad will be presenting this morning as well. But it's good you're here because you'll be able to ask questions, and those questions we will be taking through the question box. So if you haven't done so already, please find that question box, and if you'd like to, you can drop me a hello or a good morning in there, just so you know it's working. Amjad will be addressing your questions at the end of the webinar, so please make sure you're asking them throughout. And then when he's finished with his presentation, we will start at the beginning with the questions and work our way through. So with that, those are all the items I have. It's all yours, Amjad.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to start with saying hello to everyone and telling you briefly about myself. I am a load rating engineer with Ohio Department of Transportation. I've been working for ODOT last 30 years, and most of my work with ODOT is load rating, bridge inventory, and bridge posting, also permit analysis, modeling and analyzing the bridges for super heavy loads. I'm gonna be presenting today's seminar, and after a couple of words about myself, I would like to turn my webcam off so it will not interrupt my presentation. So in this webinar, this is actually a 5th webinar in the SNBI webinar series, which we started, and I will try to explain and tell you what the SNBI means. So let me turn the webcam off, and then we can start with
I got it for you. I turned your webcam off for you.
With our presentation. As I was saying that this is the 5th webinar in the series. Previous 4 webinars were not given by me. They were given by Mike Broca, who is a bridge inspection engineer for ODOT. I'm gonna be only covering load rating fields. What are the load rating fields in SNBI, and how we are going to code them in the AssetWise, and how we what changes are coming up or what changes we have already implemented. At the close to the end, I will gonna give you a live demo also to show you how to actually code them in the AssetWise. As it was mentioned earlier, you will have plenty of time after my presentation ends to ask the questions, and I'll be happy to go back and explain what I will present in my presentation today. So here are the topics which I plan to discuss. Very short list. What are the load rating fields? And that means load rating and load posting analysis done, and those fields, what are the requirements in SNBI. We are still in the process of implementing all the changes in our systems. So meanwhile, we have created a temporary transition form, temporary SNBI transition form, I'm going to show you that transition form, and I'm going to explain how to code that one. BR100 form has been updated. This is load rating summary report. I think most of you, if you have done any load rating or coded the load rating in the AssetWise, you probably already know about the BR100 form. So I will show you the changes in that one, and we're gonna go over some common cases. What is SNBI? Specification for the National Bridge Inventory. It was published last year in March, and it is very significant change, and there are a lot of new requirements, and it is a big document. It came from FHWA, so there is a timeline for its implementation, and we are in the transition period, and we are going through the process of implementing that one. It is not possible to implement everything overnight, and that's why we are going through this transition phase. So the load rating field items in SNBI. As I said, the SNBI is specification for National Bridge Inventory. Subsection 5.1 that deals with the loads and load rating. So in this slide, in this table, I have listed all the load rating items. There's item number, which corresponds to SNBI specification document, and then there is a items. So we have design load, design method, load rating date, load rating method, inventory load rating factor, operating load rating factor, controlling legal load rating factor, routine permit loads. Some of those items we have already collected as a part of National Bridge Inventory. Those are not highlighted. For example, design load, design method, load rating method, they are already exist. Inventory load rating factor and operating load rating factor. The items which are highlighted green, for example, load rating date, these items were not previously required by FHWA to record them, but as a Ohio practice, we were already collecting them. We already have in our database what the load rating date is, and also the controlling load rating factor, and I will show you those. The items which is highlighted as yellow on this slide, it is the new item on which we will be collecting as a part of SNBI coding. Then there is subsection 5.2 and subsection 5.3. They are pertaining to the load posting. These are required when a bridge is we analyze for the posting loads and if the bridge requires any kind of posting. Again, following the same pattern which I did in the last slide, load posting status, which is not highlighted on this slide, is we already know we are collecting that information. This is item 41, bridge open closed. That is the posting status, which is in currently NBI specification as item 41. Posting status change date. This is a new item. This is previously we have some idea when a bridge was posted for reduced loads, but we did not keep a track or the history of that. But now this will be required in SNBI. Legal load configurations and legal load rating factors, they are some of the legal load configurations and rating factors we are already collecting as a Ohio inventory, but some there are new ones. Posting type and posting value. These were not in previous NBI specifications, but we will be required to collect them as a part of SNBI. So let's start with the item. What are the new items I'm just gonna discuss what are the changes and the new items in SNBI. First thing is legal load configurations. As from this list, this is directly the snapshot from SNBI or specification. These are the loads, legal loads, which are required to be used when load rating a bridge. And so there is a type 3 load, which is ASHTO legal load, type 3S2 and type 3-3. These are the three new legal vehicles which are part of SNBI, which we will be adding to our current fleet of legal trucks. You can recognize the SU4 truck, SU5 truck, SU6, SU7 trucks. These trucks we already have in our load rating, a part of load rating. Then there is a notional rating load, NRL, and then the two emergency vehicles, EV2 and EV3. And you can recognize that EV2 and EV3 are already part of our daily life of load rating. NRL is a notional rating load. This load, according to ASHTO, is only used to screen your bridges. So you analyze this NRL by load. If the bridge passes this NRL load or the rating factor is 1 or more, ASHTO says that you don't need to analyze for SU4, SU5, SU6, and SU7, which are special hauling vehicles. Since we have already included special hauling vehicles SU4, SU5, SU6, and SU7 in our rating set of rating vehicles. So this, we don't need to use this NRL, which is a screening load. So I will exclude that one from our list. So remaining from this, these are the list of loads required by SNBI. So there are 3 new loads we determined from this list. These need to be included in our rating process. There are 3 Ohio Ohio trucks which we use. For example, in this list, the type 3 load is a 3-axle vehicle. There is no 2-axle vehicle. So as a part of ODOT policy, we have a 2-axle vehicle as the 2F1 and also a 3-axle truck and a 5-axle semi in our in a group of rating vehicles. The next item is routine permit load. This is also SNBI, a new item required. And for this item, there are 4 codes. We have to code over bridges accordingly. Code A means a bridge carries routine permit load and the load capacity is adequate for all routine permit loads, and no routine permit loads are restricted. Code B is when the bridge carries routine permit load, it is okay for some routine permit loads to go over that bridge, but it is not. Other routine permit loads are restricted. So A is totally unrestricted routine permit loads. B is for bridges which carry routine permit. Some carry some routine permit loads and others not. C is bridge does not carry routine permit loads and routine permit loads are all restricted. And N is when when an agency does not issue routine permit loads and the bridges are not carrying any routine permit loads. So to determine what code we should use, let's look at the definition of the routine permit load. What is routine permit load? This definition is from 23 CFR 650.305. This is a federal code, and also it is included in SNBI specifications. A live load which has a gross weight, axle weight, or distance between axles not conforming with state statutes for legally configured vehicles. So first thing is the routine permit load is not a legal load. So this is different than a legal load. It is authorized for unlimited trips over an extended period of time to move alongside other heavy vehicles on a regular basis. So what this definition tells us, that routine permit load is a not legal load. It does not conform with the legal configuration of a truck in a state. It is issued a routine permit. It can go along with the other traffic. It is mixed with the traffic and traveling on the bridges for an extended period of time. So by looking into ODOT permitting policy and by having discussions with our permit office, what we have determined that ODOT does not issue any routine permit. Or we have a automated permit system. When any hauler wants to um, travel on Ohio bridges, any permit load, we put it in our system for the route on which this load gonna be traveling, and we determine the route from its origination to destination, and we check, analyze each bridge. That means that is not a routine permit load. So ODOT, as in policy, we do not issue any routine permit loads. So what does it mean? That means that all our bridges gonna be in ODOT, gonna be coded as N. Okay, bridges does not carry routine permit loads. They are the loads, permit loads are not running freely in Ohio. We issue the permit, we check our bridges, and then we determine whether a permit will be issued to a hauler, to a load, and they are supposed to travel on specific routes, not freely traveling everywhere. Um, So that's why all ODOT bridges, we got by default, we got to code them as N. When it comes to non-ODOT bridges like counties or cities or Ohio Turnpike, if they have any policy, if they are issuing any routine permits, because I am not fully familiar of permitting policies of every local entity. Um, uh, the few counties I have spoken with, few major cities I have spoken with, um, they have not told me that they issue any routine permit or permits to any um, non-legal loads to go freely everywhere. But if they are issuing any permits, they gonna be coding their bridges accordingly, code A, B, or C. But ODOT will be by default will be coded as N. So these are our new load rating requirements, the loads. As I said that there are some Ohio legal loads, which are 2F1, 3F1, and 5C1. Those are 3 legal loads. We're gonna continue rating our bridges for them. Special hauling vehicles, we are already rating our bridges for special hauling vehicles, SU4 through SU7. In this this vehicle SU4 represents a 4-axle, SU5 a 5-axle, SU6 6-axle, and SU7 is a 7-axle vehicle. Similarly, 2F1 is 2-axle vehicle, 3F1 is 3-axle, and 5C1 is 5-axle vehicle. Emergency vehicles, EV2 and EV3, we already are load rating over bridges for emergency vehicles. The new load which we have added are ASHTO legal loads, type 3, 3S2, and 3-3. Type 3 is 3-axle load, 3S2 is a 5-axle load, and 3-3 is a 6-axle load. We have also made a policy that we gonna be load rating ODOT bridges for 2 permit loads. They are included in our BR100, but those are optional for non-ODOT bridges. If any local agency wants to load rate their bridges, those configuration can be provided and they can do the load rating. Today's my focus is how to code these in SNBI and specifications according to SNBI specifications. There's no change in the posting signs. These are the 2 posting signs we currently is using. The left one, which has 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, 5XL, 6+XL, and a semi silhouette on it. This is used when a bridge cannot carry the full legal loads. If any other legal loads has a rating factor less than 1, we post this sign. The right sign on the right is for emergency vehicles only. If any bridge is good enough to carry the legal loads, but cannot carry the emergency vehicles, which are really very heavy vehicles, then we post the bridge on the sign for emergency vehicles. So these are the 2 signs. There is no change, and we're going to continue these 2 signs to post over bridges. So this is the revised BR100. There are, let's see if I can zoom in into further. If you look at the top, there is similarly, we have structure file number. We identify every bridge by a 7-digit number, and this is structure file number. There is a bridge number, which includes the county, route, and SLM, and left and right, district, GPS coordinates, year built. These are all the same. As far as the new vehicles are concerned, there are some new codes over here. For example, routine permit load, RPL. This code is, if you can see my hand, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth row from the top. So this is where the code is, where the agent, where we're going to be coding whether the routine permit load is being carried on that bridge or not. The new legal loads all incorporated on the left side under Ohio and ASHTO legal loads. These are 2F1, 3F1, 5C1 are the Ohio legal loads, type 3, type 3-3, and 3S2. Those are the ASHTO loads. And then there are special hauling vehicles. Emergency vehicles are also on this BR100 form, and the optional permit load, this is 60 ton and 65 ton, 2 permit loads. Those we are analyzing ODOT bridges, and as I said that these are optional for the locals, so they are also on this PR100 form. So the information which you need to code for SNBI for any bridge is we try to contain it on this one page PR100 form, and hoping this will stay one page, and because a lot of people like the formatting, the one page formatting of this load rating summary form. So as I was explaining, these H2 legal loads, they are over here. They are shown in this rectangle type 3, type 3-3, and type 3s2. Additionally, optional permit loads, they are also on the bottom right. These are the new areas which have been added in the BR100. So how do you code this? But the coding is done, how the coding is being done. Since we are still in the transition stage, we are currently under 1995 NBI specification requirement. We are coding over bridges by those 1995 specs, NBI specs, but we are also transitioning in some SNBI requirements. So NBI specification required to code inventory operating rating factors. So those rating factors are being coded as it is, as in AssetWise. I just want to give one caution over here. To use the right codes over here, when we, for example, when we're gonna be analyzing, when we analyze the bridges for HL93, we should be using, and this is the correct way of using, is use the code 8, load and resistance factor, and then give the rating factor in the next box underneath. Same thing for inventory. I've seen some people using the assigned rating code, and I think that that is not correct, and that gives us a lot of errors at the time when we submit the data to FHWA. So this is the correct way, and I'm gonna show you more examples. I'm gonna show you, what are the other codes and what codes not to be used. So let's focus at this time. This is what we are coding right now. For currently, the snapshot on the right is from the AssetWise. This form is on the Ohio bridge inventory of AssetWise, and we have the room to code all the previous Ohio legal loads. As you can see this on the right side, like we have item 717, 720, 717 is 2F1 operating rating factors for 2F1 vehicles, 3F1, 4F1, 5C1, SU4, SU5, SU6, and 7. And as you can see that over here, there is no room to code the rating factors for type 3, type 3-3, and type 3S2. For emergency vehicles, we have the room, and this is currently how we are coding in AssetWise. So let's, I think I'm gonna be going over some common cases, and I'm gonna show you, what is the best way of coding them during this transition stage. So let's look at this PR100. This is a bridge in Ross County. It carries US 35, and it located at mile marker 20.14. It's the right bridge. There are twin bridges. So once we complete this rating analysis, we found out that there is no posting is needed because all the rating factors are, you can see that all the rating factors were above 1, so no posting was needed. So this, to start the coding of this, we will start with the National Bridge Inventory form. If you are familiar with AssetWise, then this form menu, this shows up when you open a bridge and start coding. So we always start with the National Bridge Inventory form. And what we're gonna be coding over there. So on the National Bridge Inventory form, we're gonna be coding operating rating method and the rating factor. Operating rating method and the factor, they go hand in hand. How you code the operating rating factor, it depends on what the method is coded. So if we saw this bridge is using HL93 loading. So for operating rating and posting coding in the AssetWise, we selected the code 8, which is the load resistance factor method, and we coded the rating factor over here. Same way for the inventory rating method, we coded the method 8, code 8, and the rating factor as 0.92. This stays the same, and this is going to be coding the same way. After we done coding for National Bridge Inventory, our next part is we go to Ohio Bridge Inventory, and this is the form on Ohio Bridge Inventory, and this is where we code all the rating factors. This over here, we always code the rating factors. So we do not code in tonnage or anything. So this is our current practices. So code all the rating factors. These are all the rating factors are from BR100. And if I go back and I can show you, these are the rating factors which are in the yellow box. These are all we are trying to code on the Ohio Bridge Inventory form. Load rater's first name, it is very important to enter the first name and the last name and the P number of the load rater. This is again for a federal requirement is they want to make sure that it is identified who has done the load rating. If the load rating is done by a non-PE person, it must be reviewed by a PE. Then the reviewer's PE number and reviewer's name, goes over here as a engineer doing the load rating. Load rating date, which is we are already capturing, and what software we use. These are additional fields which we capture on Ohio inventory, what software we use, and also the rating source. If the plans were available during the load rating and the information was collected from plans, or were any field measurements were taken. So these all need to be coded. This is something new. This is the SNBI temporary transition form. I will show you in AssetWise where this form is located and how to code this one. When you start coding this form, in this form, some of the values are grayed out. Those are actually, we have previously coded on Ohio inventory form, so they will be grayed out. Only the new trucks, like type 3, 3-3, and 3S2, for the new trucks, there's going to be blank fields, and you will be coding the rating factor for the new trucks. There are some additional fields over here, like routine permit load, which is currently we did not have on the Ohio or NBI inventory side. So we created this field over here, routine permit load. So this is again A, B, C, or N code. So this bridge is not carrying routine permit load, so we coded N. And what method was used for routine permit analysis? So this is the same method which we use to analyze it. And these are additional optional, permit trucks which we did for this Ohio bridge, and this is a place we store this their rating factors to keep this information in our records. The column under posting type and truck and posting value and truck, these are not coded for this bridge because this bridge, as I previously said, this bridge does not require posting. So these two columns will only be coded when a bridge requires posting, and we will see a example when a bridge is posted how to code these columns. So let's move on to next bridge. This bridge is in Huron 113 6.01 mile marker. Structure file number is 3902617. And for this bridge, when we did the analysis, we fill out the BR100 form. Beside the basic information about the bridge, about the coordinates, when we fill out the rating factors, we determined that this bridge required a posting for emergency vehicles only. As you can see that EV2 rating factor is 0.917 and EV3 rating factor is 0.926. And both rating factors are below than 1, so this bridge requires for posting for emergency vehicles. For all commercial legal vehicles or the trucks or special hauling vehicles, all the rating factors are above 1. So our determination was for this bridge require posting for EVs. So we're gonna see that how this bridge has been coded in AssetWise. So let's start with the first one, with the Ohio, with the National Bridge Inventory Forms. So we go to the National Bridge Inventory Forms. Here is the inventory rating factor 0.575, and this is item 66. We coded 0.58 because this is federal item and they require to code it in up till 2 decimal points, two digits after decimal point. So we rounded this to 0.58. Operating 0.96, again, we could only code for up till 2 digits. As you notice that this the loading type used for inventory and operating is HS20, so we use code 6. So 6 is when we are using HS20 loading or doing by load factor method, and code 8 when we are using LRFR method, code 8, which I showed you in one of the previous examples. So this is National Bridge Inventory coding for reading. When coming to Ohio inventory, these are all the rating factors which we determined through our analysis, as you can see that, and these rating factors are all coded over here. Like for every like 2F1, 3F1, 5C1, they are coded over here. Type 3, 3-3, 3S2, there is no room to code these H2 legal vehicles on this form. So next we jump to SU4 and 4F1. They are basically the same vehicle. So that's why we have eliminated 4F1. Since you have to code for 4F1 and on this form, so you use the same rating factor which we have for SU4. And in the future version of AssetWise, when we will be fully implementing everything, all the requirements in AssetWise, then the coding for F1 will disappear, that item 723.02, because it is a repetition, is a duplication. EVs are here. There's 0.917 for EV2 and 0.926 for EV3. Controlling rating factors 90%. Controlling legal load rating factor is 90%. So is in Ohio, percentage of legal is 90. This name of the load raters, the P number, and when the load rating was done, and how this load rating was done, what software was used. Now in the next slide, we're gonna look into, because we know that from this form we left type 3, type 3-3, 3S2, and some others, information out because there was no room over here. So this is the new transition form. This is how we are coding. So once you jump to this form, the information which is already coded in the previous form, 2F1, 3F1, 5C1, they will automatically show up on this form, but will be grayed out. You cannot change them over here. Then the 3 trucks type 3, 3-3, and 3S2, their rating factors are coded over here. And EV2s and EV3 rating factors showed up over here because they were coded in the previous form. As you can see that now, this bridge requires posting for emergency vehicles. So now we have to code these next two columns. The column in the middle, which is posting type and truck, we post over bridges by the truckload, because we post them as, like, for 2XL, EV2 is 26 ton posting and 3XL is 39 ton. So we're gonna say that we're gonna be posting them by the truckload. More or less, we always use code T for the truckload, and the actual value of posting, like 26 and 39, they will be coded over here. So since there's no posting for any other vehicles, we're gonna leave them blank. All the information which we will be coding in this transition form, when AssetWise will be revised and the new version of AssetWise, SNBI version of AssetWise will be released, all this information stored over here will be imported into the new version. So this, you will not have to repeat that. All these new items which we are coding on the transition form, they are stored in the database, and we will bring them into the new AssetWise. We have not seen what the new AssetWise, how they're gonna look. Developers have not released to us, how it's gonna look like, and how the items will be laid out, what format gonna be, but they will be following the same formatting which in SNBIs. That's why these at this time we have started storing this information in the database so that we can quickly import it into the new SNBI version. All right, so next we gonna look into the next example, which says that truck posting is needed for this bridge. This is Huron 99 15.90, structure file number 3902498. And in this one, when we did the analysis, we did the load rating, we found that, if I can highlight this one, as you can see that the rating factors for SU6 and SU7, they were below 1. So when any of those Ohio legal or special hauling vehicles, they are less than 1, the rating factor is less than 1 through our calculations, we post at bridge. for the reduced legal loads, and this is the sign was determined, and this is the sign. We're going to see that how we're going to code this bridge in our in the current AssetWise using the temporary transition SNBI form. So this is the bridge which we are coding, and let's go to the live, how we're going to code this bridge. So I will be switching back and forth during this demo so that you can see, so if you are familiar with the AssetWise, so this is, when you start your, AssetWise, this is generally you go to the main page or the main dashboard, depending on, what's your default page is. My default page is like a main page, so it is something gonna look like this. So to jump to that bridge, so I generally do is I use the SFN and look for that bridge in the database. So this is the SFN 3902498. And it is Huron 9915.90. Is this the right bridge? So let me open, go back. Okay, 3902498. This is the 3902498. This is the bridge, and this bridge is, we have determined that it requires posting, and we're going to see that how we're going to code this one. So to code, or make the changes in the inventory, we go to the edit asset values, and from there, the first form, it jumps to the national bridge inventory. So we're gonna go to the national bridge inventory, and if I go back to my BR100, let me open the BR100. I also have this BR100 open up as a Excel file. So this is the Excel file. So is the inventory coding is 0.533 and operating is 0.89. So from here, the first thing is we're gonna do is we're gonna see what the method is used. So this is HS20 loading. So the load rating method is LFR. So we're gonna be coding 6. So we come over here and we're gonna be coding drop down, gonna be coding 6. As I was mentioning earlier, there are other codes over here. For example, code 0 field evaluation, but when you code the code 0, do not go enter the rating factors. When you use code 1, do not enter the rating factors. Code 1, 2, 3, they require the rating should be done, entered by the metric tons. So to code properly, because our default is we use the rating factors, so we go to code 6. And we go to code 6 and we determine, let's see if it 0.5, I'm gonna write down rating inventory is 0.53 and operating is 0.89. So I'm gonna, I don't have 2 monitors, so I cannot open 2 screens. So my operating is 0.89 and the rating method for inventory is also 6, and this is gonna be 0.53. So your operating rating factor is always higher than your inventory rating factor for the same load. So sometime, people switch the values and that causes the issues. So your operating rating factor can never be equal or lower than inventory rating factor. So once we are done this, this is the coding, overcoding is done over here. So we are good. So next, I said that we're gonna jump to Ohio bridge inventory form. And to code this, I have my BR100 also opened. So I come over here for the 2F1, my rating factor is 1.675. For 3F1, my rating factor is 1.234. For 4F1, my rating factor is 1.133. My 5C1 rating factor is 1.298. Am I right so far? SU4 is same as 1.133. SU5 is 1.029. And SU6 is 0.948. SU7 is 0.902. EV2 is 1.056. And EV3 is 0.811. And it is at 90% legal. And when I come down over here, I see the name of first name is Cole, the person who has the P number, and the last name is MARBURBUGER, and his P number is 78921. And I want to check the date is March 14, 2023. So it's gonna be 03142023, and it was load rating software was used Azure with BRR. How I would know that? How I did find out that one? This is, you go up in the BR100. So it says that Azure BRR was used as a software, and plan information was available. Its code is over here. So I am done with this form. So once I am done with this form, next, the new form is temporary SNBI transition form. So I jump to this one. Let me get this one out of way. And if you can, this is the new form. As you can see that since I entered 2F1, 3F1, 5C1 rating factors on the previous screen, so they already showed up as a grayed out. The only thing remaining was to enter the rating factors for missing type 3 truck, which is 1.190. 3-3 is 1.348, and this is 1.033, right? Okay, and once further down, I have the routine permit analysis. I have a place where I can save my information because this analysis is done. So for the routine permit loads, I determined that one, this bridge does not carry routine permit loads. I'm gonna code N. What method was used? We use the same method, load factor method, so which is over here. The rating factor for permit loads, which we use for analysis, 60 ton is 0.875, and for 65 ton is 0.638. And this is over here. And now since this require posting, let me show you another cool feature about this one, this BR100. Once you get this BR100, there is a additional tab, coding input. This is the coding input. This shows you, guides you what need to be coded. And this is the SNBI transition form. This tells you over here what to be coded on the transition form. So let's try to code this one. So since this bridge requires posting, so we gonna be coding, these are all, the trucks, they are posted. So since we do by the truck type, so we're gonna be coding as T for all. And the posting value for 2F1 is 15.0, 15, 23. Okay, it's taking full tons. And for 5C1 is 40 ton. Okay, 5C1 is 40 ton, and type 3 is 23, and 3-3 is 32. Type 3 is 23, and 3-3 is 32. Then for SU force, 27, 31, 32, 2, 28. Sorry, this is also 32 because we combined XL6 and XL7. So this is what we are posting the same, and this is 24 and 28 and 34. And as far as these are also all by trucks, so everything is by truckload. The other options over here are like gross weight, just like you would, this is a gross one weight for the whole bridge, or you use a single axle load, a tandem axle loads, or you determine whether it's posted for absolutely no commercial vehicles, speed reduction, those are the other options available. But for the load posting purposes, we always use by the truck method. And 3S2, what was the 3S2? Okay, the 3S2 we did not do because it is already, combined. This is a 5-axle vehicle also, so it is already combined with the other 5-axle with SU5. So this is the complete, coding of the form. And once we are done, this is our coding. So going back to my presentation, we did coded National Bridge Inventory form. We also coded Ohio Bridge Inventory Form, and we coded the temporary SNBI Transition Form. And that's the end of my presentation. And if there are any questions, I will answer those questions.
Okay, Amjad, we've got lots of them for you. So we're going to start with the first one that came in and work our way through. So you might have to go back to some of the earlier information in your presentation. The first question is, do we need to go into the program and update our own BR100, or was that done automatically?
Do we need to go and update our BR100, or is
Yes.
it done automatically? BR100 is a standalone bridge summary sheet or form, and this form is what the BR100 looks like. This is all we at this time we are moving forward. We are any new ratings, and if you look in one of my presentations, let me go back, and I said that this is my presentation, the new load ratings. If you have time, you have models, you have resources, you can go back and redo your ratings for these trucks. But at this time, we are moving forward. So all the new load ratings, which are we are using the new BR100 forms. This form was first time was revised last year in September, and from September forward, we are using the new BR100 form. So just hold on, don't update your old BR100 yet. But if you have time and resources available, you can do that. But our first priority is to load rate those bridges which have not been load rated yet for all the vehicles.
So it wasn't updated automatically then in the program, and they will need to do that eventually.
Correct.
Okay, great. All right, next question. Toledo has several state, turnpike, and local roads that permit Michigan loads, meaning 154,000 pounds. These loads do not require permits on the designated roads. Is there any special coding required?
I understand this question, and there are certain areas, those Michigan grain trains, we call them, which are the trains, or the trucks, which carry grain from Michigan and come to Toledo ports. Those bridges, we're gonna deal with them. We have their routes determined because we did some analysis and we allowed them to travel on those routes. So those bridges gonna be on special cases. We gonna be load rating them for the Michigan grain trains, and we gonna be coding them accordingly. As a blanket, we don't have routine permits, which I said earlier, as far as ODOT is concerned. Other agencies, they may have it, and we in ODOT we recognize there are some bridges, but they are limited to certain specific areas. Michigan grain train, they are not going everywhere in Ohio. They are in the Toledo area, and only those bridges which are determined safe for them to travel on with, and they will be analyzed and they will be coded slightly differently. So this is we are aware of that, and if you contact me, I can provide you more specific guidance on those bridges.
So they'll need to contact you for the special coding that they have to put on there.
Right.
Okay. All right, next question. If we do not allow routine permit loads, do we have to rate the bridge for the routine permit loads, or can we leave it blank in the BR100?
As a if you are talking about ODOT bridges as a ODOT, we are doing by policy. We are using 2 permit loads by policy. For non-ODOT, you can leave them blank. They are not required. So if any agency is not issuing routine permit loads, they can leave them blank. No need to. But you will code them accordingly. You will code them N on the SNBI form, transition form. Those bridges are not carrying the routine permit loads. So their code, I'm talking of this routine permit codes, and this means this bridge is not carrying routine permit loads, and you can leave these fields in a blank. That is correct.
Okay, next question. On BR 100, what is the empty line under SU 74? Is there a plan to add more loads on this line?
No, we at this time again, I cannot say for sure what will happen if there are going to be any other vehicles, but at this time, at the moment, I can speak that there is no other vehicle on the horizon. So this is no, but it may change. If legislation changes or anything happens, I see few legislation they are lurking around, but there is no, as far as at this time or for near future, we are not adding any more vehicles as illegal loads, but it may change in far future.
Sure. All right, next question. In AssetWise, why do we have both the SU4 and 4F1 if they are the same?
As you previously, we were analyzing both for SU4 and 4F1. The form, this is a Bentley product, and this AssetWise, when it was developed and when we had this form created by Bentley at this time, we have the both vehicles, we are analyzing them. But over the period of time, we realized that their rating factors are coming very close to 1, and we can eliminate. Once we started adding more vehicle, we also looked at that. What is the reason we are having the redundant, vehicles? So that's why we said that in the future we don't need to have the redundant vehicles. And if you look at the configuration, I think I have over here. I can show you quickly the configuration. They are almost identical, and let's see if it is. Just 1 second. I have another presentation. Okay. This is one of the earlier presentation which I did, in which as you can see that the top vehicle is SU4 12 axle, and then the triple on the back, and this is 4F1. It has 14, 14, and 14. This was created in Ohio. This is SU4 coming from AASHTO. If you combine these triple, they are so closely spaced, but if you combine this, their combined load is 42, and their combined load on the triple is also 42. So we determined that one SU4 is more is running, actually SU4 is running on our roads. Their gross weight is same. This is 27 ton SU4, and for F1 was also. So their analysis, we ran some analysis, few bridges we analyzed for both, and they were giving us uh, almost identical rating factors. So they look very closely like each other. That's why we determined them and they were redundant. So that's why we dropped for F1 since SU4 was more relevant, more more representation of actual vehicle running on the roads. It was included by ASHTO. So we opted for SU4 and we dropped for F1 from over future vehicles. Did I answer your question?
I tell you what, if you didn't, then they can put a follow-up in the question box, and I will be happy to read it off when we get there.
Okay.
So, next question. Why is there a separate field for load rating method for the RPL? Shouldn't the same method be used as was used for Ohio legal loads?
For the permit loads, as I'm the thing is, the reason is sometime we have seen since load factor and load resistance factor, both methods are okay, allowed, applicable by ASHTO and FHWA. So we have determined some of the old bridges, they rate well by one method compared to the other methods. That's why if you look at the section 900 of Bridge Design Manual, it says that when it comes to the posting, make sure you check by both methods. So there could be a reason if the permit load due to the configuration, will be giving the better rating factors or the higher rating factors by one method and another method. So this is a option over there. You can change and you can determine which method gives you the better rating on that bridge. So they are older bridges, and not all bridges are designed the same way using the same specifications. So that's why I have this option available. They can use a different method. Since this is all optional, so it does not affect your posting, it doesn't affect anything else. So this is just the option available if a rater or if a agency wants to use a different method. For example, ODOT, our permitting method system is using load factor method at this time. We are not using LRFR, but we will do in future. But at this time, we are using LFR. So a lot of times, we have to make sure that, which method gives us the better rating to use that one so that we can keep our heavy loads moving on the bridges.
Great. The next question, they specifically said slide 22, so I don't know if you want to go to that slide. And I'll read it off to you. It says, on slide 22, the bridge had EV postings, but the AssetWise code was A-open. Should that be P-posted since there are EV restrictions?
Okay, this item 41, this is comes from the inspections. When the inspectors, they inspect the bridge and they see the sign over there, this bridge is restricted, they change in their inspection report and it changes at that time. So once we are coding this one, we do not, because since the sign is already not out there, so doesn't make sense that we mark this one because this bridge is already posted. We made the determination, but for this bridge, when the bridge will be actually get sign on the bridge, which is generally typically happens within 30 days, and then the next inspection will show that this bridge is posted, and this field will get automatically updated. So this is based on the field report.
Great. Next question. Do all non-ODOT bridges need updated with the AASHTO loads? Type 3, 3S2, 3-3.
Answer is yes. The SNBI requirement is for all the bridges which carry public roads. So public traffic, whether there is muni roads, county roads, township roads, any bridge which is carrying the public traffic and the data is submitted to FHWA or it is in AssetWise, uh, that requires to be done. There are different bridge definitions in Ohio. For example, Federal Bridge is more than 20 feet and the Ohio Bridge is 10 feet or more. But SNBI has been adopted for all the bridges in Ohio. So any bridge which is any structure which is defined as a bridge and it has a structure file number, and the same requirements are for all the load rating of all the bridges carrying heavy highway loads.
All right, the next question's actually been asked 3 times. So they would like to know where they can get an updated BR100 spreadsheet. They said their current version does not have the temp underscore SNBI underscore form tab in it.
Okay, I think I can go to, this is the Office of Structural Engineering web page. It is on ODOT website. You guys, if you are not familiar, then send me an email and I will send you the exact link. This is how the page look like. I can show you over here. This is structural engineering. This is our new website. If you scroll down over here, there's a section bridge design resources, bridge inspection inventory, and bridge rating and analysis. In the bridge rating analysis, there are these cards. One of the cards says downloadable bridge rating resources. Once you click this one, then it will jump over here. This is under the miscellaneous section. Here is the BR100. And actually it is more current. I posted this one on March 17 this year. This is where you can get the Excel file of the BR100. If you cannot get to this and you had hard time, just send me an email and I will give you the exact link and you can download from here.
Great, thank you. The next item is actually a comment that Mike Brokaw put in. He said clarification, posting type/truck and posting values/truck represent the posting in the field and typically done by the inspector. These codes are typically not coded immediately after the analysis. So we'll just leave that one there. I do have another question though. It says, can you clarify why the SU5, SU6, SU7 will be eliminated in AWS and be considered a duplication of SU4?
I didn't understand the question. We are not eliminating SU4, SU5, SU6, and SU7. We are only eliminating 4F1. All SU vehicle, they are part of SNBI. As in this slide, I show you SU4, SU5, SU6, SU7. They are part of our rating set of rating vehicles. They will not be eliminated. So can you repeat the question? I didn't understand it.
Sure. I mean, I think you've addressed it. They wanted you to clarify why SU5, 6, and 7 were being eliminated in AWS and being considered a duplication of SU4, but you've specified they aren't.
They are not.
Correct.
The only vehicle which I said that there's a redundant vehicle 4F1, only this one will be eliminated because 4F1 is very close to similar to SU4. So this is redundant. So that's why we are only eliminating 4F1, because we covered this one under SU4. SU4 is more controlling compared to 4F1 due to their heavy axles.
There's so much information here. It's good that we are attempting to record this so folks can listen to it again if they need to. Couple more questions. This is there a plan for ODOT to have a load rating project and a programmatic to update the load ratings for the non-ODOT bridges?
For the we are on the ODOT side, we are running programmatics. There are at least 3 contracts going on. For the non-ODOT, I will leave it to the CAO to make that determination if they're gonna have any project, any in the programmatic in future or not. So CEO, County Engineers Association of Ohio, they are fully aware of all the SNBI requirements. They are also working very hard trying to identify the resources and to make sure that they meet the SNBI timeline and the SNBI requirements. So they are under that same like the deadlines they are working on, and they are trying to make their own determinations, and they're trying to look into all the resources, internal resources available, and what else they can do. So I don't have any information about non-ODOT bridges. There are some muni bridges which we are handling within ODOT through our muni program, and we are also making determinations, how to do the update those analysis for those bridges.
All right, next question. In your BR 100 example, why was the controlling legal load RF not based on the EV rating factor, which was the lowest of all rated vehicles?
For EV2 is a 2-axle vehicle. If you can specify, if are you because I presented 2 examples. One example was when the EV posting was needed only, and
So we'll ask Robert to throw a further question or explanation or not verification, further,
yeah.
Let us know which example in the question box that you were asking that question about, and I'll go on to the next one. Is a PE stamp no longer required on the BR 100 form?
On the BR 100 form, we have a white box, for the stamp. We are for consultants to put a stamp over there, but we definitely need their information, their PE number in the BR 100. So this is the BR 100 form. This is the actual form, and we definitely have a place where they can put the PE numbers, and we are also requiring both rated and must be reviewed, but at least one person should be PE. So both, for the quality QA QC process, it is required to have 2 people looking at the BR 100 form. It is done correctly, and the rating is done correctly, but at least one should be PE. There is a white box over here if they want to put their stamp, but they can put stamp anywhere on BR 100. It is optional if they want to have it's a good practice to do that. But more important for us is their information about their PE number and their name, so that we can put in our database. So if you want to use PE stamp, you are welcome.
Okay, and I was looking to see if Robert was going to put clarification on which example in the question box, but I'm not seeing that. So Robert, you're always welcome to follow up with Amjad after the webinar today too. So, all right, if there are no more questions, I think that we might be ending a few minutes early, which is always a good thing. We appreciate everybody's attention and time in the webinar today. And Amjad, as always, thank you so much for all the great information and the great presentation. We sincerely appreciate it.
And thank you, everyone. And this is my phone number and my email. If you want to shoot me a question or call my office number, I'd be happy to talk and explain everything. And thank you so much. And thank you, Victoria,
Sure.
for organizing and conducting and being very helpful for me. I know without your help, it was not possible for me to run this so smoothly.
Well, we make a good team. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.